And we'll take a quick photo op if we can. Yeah, we'll do a quick photo op. What's it here? You know that for you. Can we let the TVs get it first? Thank you. Just looking straight at the red light in the back. All right, you guys good in the back? All right, any iPhones and otherwise? Real cameras? All right. Thank you, guys. You go, Coach. Thank you, Coach Kelly. Appreciate Coach Brohm and Coach Kelly joining us this morning for our head coach press conference ahead of the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern, Camping World Stadium, Purdue and LSU. We'll start with a couple of brief head coach opening statements, and then move on to questions from the crowd. We'll start with you, Coach Brohm.
Yeah, first off, the Citrus Bowl experience has been magnificent for our team. We worked really hard to get to this point. It's the big-time bowl game, big-time atmosphere, just all the events, all the excitement leading up to this game, to be able to go against a big-time opponent in LSU, a team that got to the SEC championship game. It's going to be a big-time challenge for us, but we are looking forward to that challenge and for that opportunity. And our guys are super excited to be in this game and are thankful to be here. We looking forward to tomorrow. They're chomping at the bit to get out there.
Thank you, Coach Kelly.
Well, Happy New Year. And 2023 starts off with, I think a great matchup between Purdue and LSU, and want to thank Florida Citrus Sports, certainly Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, and congratulate Purdue and Brian Brohm. They've obviously done a great job this year to get here, played in the Big Ten championship game, and I think we've all seen how good the Big Ten is watching games over the last 24 hours. So it'll be a great challenge for our team as well. I mean, look, these games really show what your program's about. They're difficult in a sense that, you're preparing with, sometimes your roster does not have all your players, and these guys want to play, and that's the great part about it. The guys that are going to be out on that field want to be there, want to represent their universities, and want to play the game the right way. And so as coaches, that's all we want. We want guys that love to play, love to compete, and I think you're going to see two teams that want to be there and want to play to their very best. So it should be an exciting matchup, and as Coach mentioned, we're excited about being in this game as well.
All right, if you have questions for either or both coaches, raise your hand. We'll start with Kyle down front and go to the second row.
Happy New Year, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us today. Coach Brohm, let me start with you. I'm going to have a question for each of you, but let me start with you, Coach Brohm. You guys are both obviously division champions in your own right, but if you could put some shine on your season, what it is you're most proud of that you've accomplished so far?
Yeah, it was a very good year for us here at Purdue. Our team is resilient. We had some ebb and flow to the season, but our quarterback play was phenomenal. Aiden O'Connell was a big reason that we get here. He did a great job. Obviously, he's not playing in this game today or tomorrow, but he was very good all season long. Our defense did a really good job all year. Coach English and those guys, and Coach Hagan's taken over for the bowl game, but they played well all season long. Had some big victories throughout the season that really all parts of our team had to. Defense stepped up and won. So the Minnesota game, defense stepped up, and Minnesota game gets that big victory. Offense steps up in some other games and makes the team come to victory. So there were a lot of games this year that could have went either way, right? A lot of them, pretty much all of them, could have went either way that we had this season. So our team did a good job of digging down deep, finding ways to win, and to get to the position to be in the Big Ten championship game. We obviously We need a little help there at the end. So it was a fun last week of the season to get to that Big Ten championship game and to finish off beating our rival, beating IU, to seal that thing up and to get into the game was special. And I think it was a big moment in the program to get to the Big Ten championship game. Obviously, we wanted to win that thing and give it our best effort, but I thought we fought hard against Michigan and played fairly well. They were the better team that day, and our guys now are, we had some of the top players opt out, so now you're going to get to see some guys that were behind waiting in the wings that are good football players that are ready to play, and they're ready to get on the field and show what they can do.
And Coach Kelly, welcome back to the Citrus Bowl. Obviously, coaching for a team that you've beaten in the past as your previous stop there, but same for you. Put some shine on your first season at LSU and what helped you get here.
Well, I think it would start with my first press conference, where my first meeting with our team, not press conference, and that was that we wanted to restore the pride in our program. Certainly finishing last the year before, and then, playing for the SEC championship and finishing first in the West. Going from last to first would probably encapsulate the success that we had during the year. We bounced back, as Brian talked about. We had a team that was resilient. We lost our opener in a very difficult fashion, but came back and played really good football through most of the season. And then, maybe ran out of gas at the end. But again, I think the team itself found ways to win, and I think fought for 4 quarters, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a team that's going to compete for 4 quarters, keep playing, and in our first year, making sure that you've got the foundational principles down in terms of what you want to do. So that's how I would encapsulate it.
We'll go to the second row here and then back to the rise for the next one.
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy New Year. For both coaches, there's so much focus these days placed on the playoff, playing for national championship, and especially as that playoff expands in a couple of years and brings in more teams. What value do you see in a bowl game such as this that isn't part of the playoff?
Yeah, go ahead.
The bowl experience, I think, is very big for the development of your program, in my opinion. You get those extra practices, you get them in a big-time atmosphere, and they get a reward kind of at the end of the year. And I know now we're moving towards the playoff expanding, which I think is great. I think more teams that you can get in there, they can get that type of experience and get rewarded for their season and have a chance, to win the national title after a great season, even if you had maybe one hiccup early on or you had a couple tough losses. But there's some really good football teams playing in these bowl games that are outside of, the playoff right now, the 14 playoff that could easily, I think, go through the thing and win it at the end of the year. And when you talk about, you watch like an NFL playoff, right? Teams go through the season in different ways. So teams that are really strong at the beginning of the year, you might have some attrition, some injury. So teams are a little bit different at the end of the year. I think a bigger playoff will reward those teams that are able to develop, keep it together, and to peak at the end. So it's a little bit different setup when you have a bigger field for sure. But these bowl games right now, I think great for development of the program, developing the young guys, getting that extra work, and giving them a reward at the end of the year if you fail to make the playoff, but have a great season.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's program development. So, when people look at it from 35,000 feet, they go, well, what are these bowl games about? It's your program. It's developing the players within your program. It's building morale. It's building camaraderie. It's relationships with coaches and players. All those things matter because you're with them more time than you are at any point during the season because there's no academics, right? They're not in class. So, building those relationships is invaluable. So that matters, and a lot of people don't see that. And this game matters to, those that choose not to play in the game, that's their choice. But there's another side to this. Those that are making decisions on who goes on to the next level and where they're drafted, this game is watched, okay? This game matters. So if you're putting film out there, if you're developing, and you're getting a chance to practice, that's a whole lot more important than trying to work on your 40 time. And a lot of guys don't see that because they just hear, hey, you got to run a good time at the combine. And what they need to do is put good film out there. And this gives them another opportunity to put film out there to develop their craft in practices over a 3-week period of time. So it's program development, it's individual development that make these bowl games so important. And that doesn't even, take into consideration how these incredible bowls put together a fun week of activities for these guys as well. So they're really, really important.
We'll go to the back riser on the left.
My question's for Coach Brohm. What has Drew Brees brought to your program, both tangible and maybe inspirational, or both?
Drew's been fantastic. He's come in with a lot of energy. He's been working with the offense, with the quarterback room. He's been in with those guys every single day. He's been in with us, breaking down film, having suggestions on plays on the offense, on ways about doing things. And really the best thing I think that he's brought is his mindset, the way that he attacks the game each and every week, the way that he goes out and tries to get greatness. To be able to be by Austin Burton, to be by Michael Limo, to be by our quarterbacks, to feed them that information, those little tips of the trade, has been phenomenal. It's been really good. I know I've been taking notes every single day about his thoughts and his process. I've had my guys writing down every single drill that he's come up with that could help us all get better. Because obviously he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's done that at a high level, and he has a lot of great input. And just the team in general, just having a guy that loves Purdue. That's, this is a little bit different time, obviously, with my brother leaving and some of the coaches leaving. Trying to keep it all together, keep these guys focused on one goal. It's been good to have someone that they know is all about Purdue in there with them, bringing that energy, bringing that fight. So he's been exceptional and been great to have around.
We'll go front left and then back to the riser again.
Coach Kelly, who are some guys that took that step forward, getting to move into bigger roles in practice, not just for Monday, but maybe moving into their off season?
I'd probably say, when you're looking at, our defense, a guy like Savion Jones, who, played well for us, but now, gets an opportunity to start. You see during the year flashes, but now you see him consistently and know what kind of player you have there. It's been fun to watch him, compete every single day. I think on the offensive side, a guy like Anthony Bradford, who, didn't play a lot last year and has continued to develop every single day. And as I mentioned earlier, these practices are important for their development as well. We had a lot of guys that needed time. John Emery, another guy that heralded player that didn't play a lot of football, that is probably, hitting his peak, if you will, in terms of how he's playing right now in these bowl preparations. So these are guys that are well known in a sense, but have been given this opportunity now to really get the reps necessary, and they've been outstanding. And I'd say a guy like Brian Anderson, who now with the opportunity he has, taking reps with the first team every day, you see the skill set he has. So, as Brian mentioned, you got some outstanding players that are not playing, right? But with that comes opportunity for others. and maybe they had smaller roles that now they have significant roles, and you're watching them on a day-to-day basis, and it's kind of fun to see them grow too.
We'll go back center, and then we'll go right on the aisle.
My question is for Coach Kelly. Coach, obviously one of the things that came out before the game and everything is that Kayshon Boutte declared for the draft. When did you guys know about that he was either going back and forth about that decision or that he had made it? And then what was your initial, I guess, advice to him? And then, of course, your reaction?
I think he's been going back and forth, pretty much all year. It was, we felt like, he just needed to get some clarity in terms of, remember now, all this stuff happens with trying to get draft grades. We're preparing for the bowl. We're on the road recruiting. There's a lot of balls in the air at once, and you want to give your guys the best counsel as well as to, where they may go in the NFL draft. So we're trying to compile all that information for him while he's trying to make the best decision. And I just think, for him, he needed to get all that information, and once he did, he made the best decision for him, and we support him 100%. We're excited for him, and he's ready. He'll have a great career.
Matt on the right, and then we'll go back to the right again.
Yeah, this question is for both coaches. Roster management obviously has been a big key issue over the last couple of years, but how challenging was it this month with the transfer portal, recruiting, bowl preparation, kind of all that together in a short window for you guys to prepare for this game?
You got that one.
Yeah, ours has been obviously very unique, just with obviously Jeff taking the Louisville job and a number of coaches going right away with him, and then you have the whole time period of there's not a new head coach hired, so the rest of the coaches on staff are, they're concerned about where they're going or if they have a job, right, after the bowl game. So very interesting set of circumstances. Then players, obviously, trying to figure out who the new coach is going to be. Are they going to stay at Purdue? Do they want to go put their name in the portal and see where they can get to and see where they can go? On top of just the normal transfer portal drama that every team is going through, that guys might want to just get in there and see where they can go. So definitely been a very influx time. Obviously, we had the opt-outs, the guys, the senior guys going to take their talents to the next level and opting out of the game. So a lot of fluctuations, but I think we've done a good job of holding it together, putting together, elevating some guys on staff that are going to take some bigger roles. We're kind of on a skeleton crew. Basically, all the QCs are basically elevated up to full-time coaches, and but I think we've done a pretty good job of keeping that together. Once we figured out who all was opting out and who's playing, able to put a great game plan together, get these guys ready to go. And the guys that are playing are they're excited to play. Like, they want to play in this game. They're ready to go. They want to show what they can do. Definitely guys that haven't had as much action throughout the year, and even guys that have elevated roles. Charlie Jones opts out as the number one receiver, so that receiver room actually had a little bounce, a little jump in their step, a little bounce in their step. Like, we're going to get some more footballs spread out around a little bit. So there's some excitement, and it's definitely different than the team that played the entire season, right? You got some different aspects, but these guys are excited to play. It's a unique opportunity. It's a great opportunity for a lot of these guys to showcase what they can do. And even our coaching staff, myself included, everyone elevated up, have an opportunity to showcase, what they're all about as well. So I feel good about where our team is at, our preparation. There's a lot of excitement about this game.
Go to the back. Melissa seated.
Yep. Right here, Melissa Thomas, Florida National News, towards the back. And this question is for both coaches. Coach Kelly, you had mentioned, the difference between normal football and a playoff game like this, or like a bowl game like this, is there's a lot more focus. There's no academics or anything that the players have to worry about. Do you notice a rise in their level of enthusiasm when they're training for a bowl game versus a regular season game?
Yes and no. I mean, part of the training happens, during exams, and there's a bit of fatigue. So you're kind of managing that a little bit in the front end. But as you give them that break to go home for the holidays and you come back to the bowl site, there's definitely a renewed energy because they know it's just football, and then I get to go to the theme park, or I get to hang out and relax at the pool, whatever. So there is an energy that you see when you get to the bowl site that's kind of different. But, there's 3 weeks here that, you have to manage it too. Like if you come out of the blocks and just, try to go back to camp, it's too much practice. And you might, in our situation, our depth is an issue. So you've got to be careful in the way you prepare, or you're going to have guys injured. We couldn't afford to lose anybody, to a bowl prep injury. So I think my answer would be there's a balancing act that you have to do in these preparations for bowl games. But when you get to the site, it better be business.
We'll go another one in the back.
Coach Kelly here in the back. I want to ask you about NIL. I'm hearing a lot of it's the Wild West. No one's policing it. What are your thoughts on that? And we haven't heard of anyone or the NCAA stepping up to, discipline anyone on that yet. So when will that happen, and who's watching out for this stuff?
Well, I don't expect it to happen. Look, there's no uniformity, right? I think we all know that each state has a different law relative to enacting NIL. Look, we love the concept as coaches. Everybody loves the concept of players being able to benefit from their name, image, and likeness. It's the unintended consequences of it, and that is inducements prior to being on campus through recruiting, unfulfilled promises, and so I think we have to be in it a little bit longer in this cycle for it to kind of take a better shape, because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. I think players are led to believe that they're going to get X, and it's really not X. They have to perform services for X, and you're hearing in the recruiting wars that guys are getting X for it's. This is not pay for play, and you're hearing stories like that. So we're going to have to see how this works itself out, but we're not looking that the NCAA is going to step in at any time here. We're going to have to continue to manage this, and I think what you'll see is the conferences beginning to take more action on NIL as well.
Take one on the right, second row.
Yeah, Brian, you coached against Purdue, I think, 6 times while you were in South Bend last year, including. Just sort of give us your impressions of Purdue football and what you think about Purdue football.
Physical, well coached, innovative offensively, and kind of that sense that always playing with a chip on their shoulder. And so they're going to play hard. They're going to play physical for 4 quarters, and they've always been, like I said, innovative, creative on offense, and a difficult opponent. Every time I've played them, it's been a tough game, and expect the same again.
We'll take one in the back, then we'll go over here, center left.
Coach Kelly, in what ways have you seen Harold Perkins grow as an athlete, mentally and physically, during his freshman year?
Just learning the game itself. There's a discipline to playing the position in which he plays. Look, I mean, everybody's seen him play that follows us. There's no doubting his physical ability, but there's with that comes responsibility as well. And I think he understands the responsibility of harnessing that incredible athleticism, and that being in particular structure within the defensive structure. So, part of it's on us to not handcuff him, if you will, right? Let him play. But on the other side of it, there's on him, the growth has to be, I'm learning this position, and I know the discipline that's required within the 11 guys on the field. So I think that's the growth that we've seen, that he's understanding that as we've gone along through the year.
Take on the left side, 4 rows back.
Coach Kelly, obviously last year, covering the bowl game last year, the focus was how many players LSU has available, and it wasn't very many. I assume you have a few more this year, but can you tell us how many scholarship players do you have for this game?
Like 65. So we're chock full of players. Yeah. I don't know what we're going to do with all of them. Yeah, we're in a better position. Certainly last year was somewhere in the 39 range. I think they had 39 scholarship players in the bowl game last year. Look, we're not where we need to be, certainly, but we're in a, there are some units that are at critical, and we're going to have to be very fortunate and manage it. I want to be in this game next year, whether it's a bowl game or a playoff game, with a better roster situation. Let's leave it at that.
We'll go back to the back on the left.
Coach Kelly, I just blanked on my question. I'm sorry, excuse me. The roster status that Purdue is dealing with and the opt-outs, are you expecting a heavy dose of the run game, and what do you see in their run game?
Well, I mean, look, it's our job to prepare for everything, right? They've got, a talented quarterback. Obviously, we got a chance to watch a little bit of film on him. He's got talent. He's got arm talent. He's got tools around him. They've lost some, obviously, really good ones. But we have to be prepared for run game, pass game. We can't say, well, they're not going to run the football. The running back is big and physical. So I think when we go into it, we don't say, listen, they're not going to throw the football or they're going to run the football. We have to be balanced defensively and be prepared. In the game, if it turns to be this looks like the way they're going to attack us, we can make adjustments within the game itself. But I expect a very similar Purdue offense that's going to be creative, that's going to look to be balanced, take shots down the field, and kind of run their offense the way they've been running it.
We'll do 2 up here and then 1 more in the back.
For Coach Brohm, with all the opt-outs on the offensive side of the ball, who are some players who are going to be stepping into a bigger role and have a larger role?
You obviously start with the quarterback. Aiden O'Connell was opted out, and after a tremendous career. But Austin Burton is stepping up. He's a 6-year senior, a guy who decided to come back for that 6th year, knowing that he would be the backup, just waiting for this type of opportunity. It was a what if opportunity, right? So he came back knowing I'm going to be the backup. I might not play. And I'm going to be here if something happens to O'Connell, then I'll get my shot. So this guy's been waiting on his opportunity, been waiting on that shot. He started out at UCLA, came to us after 3 seasons to compete for the starting job, and has been a model teammate, great leader for our team. And he has some ability. So I'm excited to have him out on the field and let him showcase what he can do. Obviously, Payne Durham opt out at tight end, so Paul Paferi is going to have to step up and play a bigger role, and he's played quite a bit for us this year. But that second tight end spot will be Drew Bibber, who hasn't played much yet, but he's got some athletic ability, he's got some talent, so he's going to have to play a little bit for us and show us what he can do. And obviously with Charlie Jones opting out at receiver, that just bumps the receiver room up 1 notch. So T.J. Sheffield's the guy who had the most targets after him. So obviously he's going to step up and roll, and the guys behind him got to step it up a notch as well. So like I said, those guys are excited for that opportunity. They've been working for it for their whole lives, right, to be able to be in that spot. So it's an exciting time for them to be in this game.
Take one on the aisle here, and then we'll close with one on the back.
Coach Kelly, here, real quick, is John Emery coming back then next season?
We haven't made that. He hasn't made that decision yet.
Okay. And then why specifically would Kayshawn have been unavailable for this game even before he declared for the draft?
Unavailable, as you know, means I can't speak to some of the reasons behind it, or I would have been more specific. So when we issue a statement using the word unavailable, we can't get into some of the specifics.
Close in the back.
Okay. Coach, how is Nussmeier enjoying the Cheez-It room, and how's that going for him this trip?
I think he has had his best week of practice as a Cheez-It, I would say, dweller. But he's listen. I mean, I think it's a great thing that the bowl does and allows them to profit off of it and NIL, and they've taken full advantage of it through social media. So it's been really fun. The guys have enjoyed it.
A report from Tyrone, Coach.
Tyrone's loved it, man. He was in there taking pictures the whole first day, and I don't know. I'm sure he's had some people in there to check it out because it's a pretty cool deal to have that whole room decked out. He hasn't invited me to come look at it yet, though. So I need to get the invite. I need to go check it out.
All right, well, we thank you both for your time this morning. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Yep.